Hey there thinkers, so welcome back to Critical Hit. My name is S, and I got a pretty heavily loaded video here today where I want to dive into Stellar Blade being called racist due to the naming of certain things in game. So buckle up, get ready, and let's get into this, shall we? Now, to start with, there was this article back in 2021 that, let's say, got revived recently and started circulating on social media about Stellar Blade. It was titled Project E. Natives may send the wrong message. And I don't understand why, because they are. It should be stated that this article was written prior to Stellar Blade's official name release, as it was originally known as Project Eve. Anywho, thegamer.com back then threw a tantrum that Stellar Blade's enemies have problematic names, considering they were originally called natives, as in NA:TIVES. Nowadays, these enemies are officially called nativus. However, the term is apparently still used somewhat in the game. Anyways, the gamer believes that the name natives being used for an invading force upon Earth to be racist and inconsiderate. TheGamer.com says first and foremost, the name is simply a little bizarre in its stylization, and the idea of calling an invading alien race anything resembling the word natives is simply counterintuitive at best. However, with a little consideration, it becomes a lot more problematic. They further state that natives being an invading force is an incredibly confusing statement. It ought to be expressed that Stellar Blade's story and subjects are plainly reimagined by the Book of Revelations, taking into the account that the lead character's name is Eve and the male lead is Adam, and these enemies obviously seem to be very scriptural holy messengers, or devils, that have attacked Earth. Additionally, the added legend bit that allegedly the majority of mankind has escaped Earth before the events of the main game, in a kind of rapture-like event. Also, I think despite the fact that I can't confirm this obviously, my conviction is that these adversaries that you are confronting may be the very people who escaped Earth during the Rapture, who transcended into an angelic-like element of some kind. Presently, these enemies are named nativus, yet I think this wasn't meant to be dangerous or anything. And that's just the beginning. So in light of the fact that the first name probably offers a lot of the plot insights regarding these foes as of now, as I expressed, I could be off base. Yet this wouldn't be the first time a game has utilized transformed people to compromise humankind that is remaining, like any zombie game ever. Obviously, as I mentioned, I think calling the enemy race natives is pretty cool since they were native to Earth. Clearly, these Western game writers' heads quickly exploded and transformed themselves into white saviors whenever they hear the word being utilized to embody something considered disgusting. The possibility that these vocalizers can't be malicious is absurd. What's more is that if we truly need to go there, we additionally have to realize that the native culture was continually at war long before things like colonization at any point occurred. Yet, I think that no one on this planet, regardless of what culture you start from, was liberated from terrible demonstrations, and individuals should try to understand that. You can't take one single culture and accept that they're completely fine. War is embedded into the DNA of mankind, whether you're battling with firearms, swords, or even rocks. The evil of humanity will continuously persevere until we never exist. Leave it to the wokeified journalists who quickly pull the cry harder card when something doesn't accommodate their agenda, like this does. Also, they are attempting to call the game, made by a South Korean designer, racist, by utilizing terms frequently used in North American culture. This is a clear illustration of how Western sensibilities generally seem to insert their will and values upon others. And when these principles are not stuck to or overlooked, the obvious end results are these blockheads shouting and hollering bigot, while never arriving to a place of understanding. It's clearly they who are thoroughly withdrawn and bigoted themselves. I just wanted to read a touch of this article to show you how trying in vain the gamer was in this article, so you can understand. So they said, and I quote, "Not only is it pretty weird to call the invading force natives, but it gets worse when you realize that the natives are the enemies players will be mowing down in the game. As mentioned, a horrific amount of violence has been committed against indigenous people, from forced sterilization to brutality to residential schools and, of course, land theft. This makes the act of killing multitude of natives entirely disturbing. The natives in Project Eve have a design closer to necromorphs in Dead Space than an actual indigenous population. But in that respect, their design makes them grotesque and other, which just makes it even more troublesome that their name is natives. This may simply be a huge oversight by Shift Up or a result in a lack of diversity within the development and publishing. Another possibility is that it's all entirely intentional, with the development team trying to grim mark a sort of scenario. Whatever the case may be, it's not a good look. Could you at any point trust that? That is to say, truly. They're trying to compare video game enemies with the fundamental massacre and segregation faced by Indigenous people. How might you try to view that in a serious way? In any case, unfortunately, this is the world we live in at this point. Everything must be connected with legislative issues. And on the off chance that you disagree with the legislative issues of the individual, then at that point, it's the most terrible thing of all time. At the end of the day, would you say they're truly trying to compare a video game with genuine barbarities? They're not even similar to the real-world atrocities. And afterwards, they end it by attempting to divert analysis and fault the designers for not having a diverse team. Like, what does that even have to do with how they eat their chicken in China? Absolutely nothing. At times, these things simply make me so frantic. Like, at any point, can we appreciate games for what they are? What's more, assuming something offends you so much, don't play it. Why try to diminish the game for every other person? Clearly this is going to piss people off, and as I say, I am here for it. Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you made it this far, hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and ring that notification bell to be notified for our next video. As always, this is Est, signing off, and I will see you in the next one. Toodles!